If we don't act against antibiotic resistance now, people will die of common infections like they did in the Dark Ages.
Overuse of antibiotics is common in the community. A lot of people lack the adequate knowledge, and they have no idea how to prevent and control infection. So education is key.
They need to understand that antimicrobial resistance is real.
Drugs that we've relied on don't work anymore.
We are sitting on a time bomb.
In late 2022, the World Health Organization reported on the experience of a young mother in Bong, Liberia. The young woman developed an infection following an emergency C-section. However, this infection proved to be immune to the first 6 types of antibiotics the doctors at the hospital recommended. 3 weeks after her child's birth, she remained gravely ill and no longer able to afford further treatment options. In this case, hospital staff were able to pool their personal resources to get her the more advanced treatment options she needed. Her treatment took an additional month of illness and medical observation, but she did eventually recover and return home to her family and newborn baby. This story illustrates an all too common phenomenon, antimicrobial resistance. Antimicrobial resistance, or AMR, occurs when the microorganisms that make humans and animals sick become resistant to the medicines designed to defeat them. AMR is a serious and growing public health crisis around the world, and especially in Africa. The World Health Organization estimates that by 2050, over 4 million people could die from antimicrobial resistant infections in Africa alone, which suffers from the highest mortality rates from AMR in the world. Why is the burden of AMR falling so heavily on Africa's shoulders? There are a mix of causes, all working together to create the perfect storm. The most important factor leading to the high burden of AMR in Africa is a lack of strong infection prevention knowledge and practice. Infection prevention measures are actions each of us can take to protect ourselves from illness and infection. These preventative measures include proper hand washing, cooking food thoroughly and refrigerating spoilable foods quickly, and cleaning and bandaging wounds as swiftly as possible. Added to this is the consistent underinvestment in sanitation infrastructure to supply clean water and reliable safe food across the region. Many parts of Africa are challenged by extremely overburdened healthcare facilities. Healthcare facilities like hospitals and nursing homes are often understaffed, underfunded, and experiencing a shortage of adequate equipment, supplies, and even basic accommodations. The region is also largely lacking regulations around pharmaceutical production, supply, and antibiotic prescription, resulting in widespread misuse of antimicrobial products. Microbes like bacteria can learn to adapt to threats, such as antibiotics. The more bacteria are exposed to antibiotics, the higher their chance of developing resistance. When we take too many antibiotics or take the wrong antibiotics, a golden opportunity is provided for bacteria to adapt and learn how to survive antibiotics. However, it is not only taking too many antibiotics that can lead to bacteria developing drug resistance, but too few antibiotics as well. Think of bacteria like weeds. Some are tougher than others. When we don't finish our prescription, we haven't finished weeding all the bacteria out of our bodies. The antibiotics may have killed off all the visible weeds, but the roots are still there, and they are the tough survivors, the ones that need the full prescription of antibiotics to kill. But there is a further stumbling block to ensuring all patients not only consume the correct amount of medicine, but receive the correct prescription from the beginning. There are few to no government regulations on the sale of prescription drugs. Only a doctor should fill the role of the prescriber. This ensures patients receive safe doses and drugs. However, seeking health care and prescription drugs carry a financial burden. This burden contributes to the use of counterfeit drugs. Counterfeit drugs are fake medicines, often packaged to mimic real medicines. Some are expired drugs, but others contain dangerous substances like rat poison and antifreeze. The World Health Organization puts the value of counterfeit drugs sold each year at $2 billion. Complex problems like AMR are always challenging to address because they require significant cooperation between so many parts of society. But AMR is even more complex because it isn't only a human health problem. AMR is a growing concern for animal and environmental health as well, because resistance can develop in any type of microbe, including those which have no impact on human health. Many of the reasons for problems posed by AMR to animal health are shared by human health. Poor regulations leading to unregulated prescription practices, counterfeit drugs flooding the market, and, like infection prevention methods in humans, lack of biosecurity measures to protect animals from contact with potentially deadly microbes. AMR concerns for animals also spill into the human health sectors. Humans could consume sick animals when the drugs to keep them healthy stop working. And with poor animal health comes not only sickness, but death, pushing the price of animal products up and contributing to scarcity of food sources. Animal and agricultural use of antibiotics also affect the environment through water runoff from fields where antifungals or manure were applied. Water runoff carries drug-resistant microbes and antimicrobial residues into the water supply. This could lead to contamination of drinking water sources, further exposing humans and animals to AMR. These are just a few of the ways humans, animals, and the environment are connected in the struggle against the spread of AMR. So, what steps can we take to make a difference and help slow the spread of AMR and save antibiotics? Spread awareness of not only the AMR threat, but smart infection prevention practices. Work to improve sanitation and clean water sources for everyone. Spread awareness of counterfeit drugs or become involved in efforts to identify them and keep them off the market. Seek solutions to the overburdened healthcare crisis. Push for tighter prescription regulations. Get involved in efforts to secure funding for programs fighting against AMR. Together we can secure a future in which antimicrobials like antibiotics remain the backbone of modern medicine.